The world unfolds differently for each of us. Why? Where do the rules come from? Within each of us, there is a unique philosophy shaping our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, worldviews, and actions. This is Inner Dialogues with Ecem, an introspective space for curious souls and minds. This is where you get to understand your individual philosophy that writes the script of your life. This is where we unveil the inner wisdom that guides you. Yep, that was your inner sage knocking the door. Let's go and chat with him. Hi, it's Ecem. Welcome back to Inner Dialogues with me. As a follow-up to our conversation in the last episode, today I want to talk about the meaning of understanding our own individual philosophy. As you heard me saying a second ago in the intro, I created this podcast series with the goal of understanding the individual philosophy of each of us, which writes the script of our lives. So, what does individual philosophy mean? I want to start with imagery. I'm a visual learner, and everything I hear, learn, and talk about becomes a picture in my mind. So, when I was thinking about the concept of understanding one's individual philosophy, the image that came to my mind was the inside of a device, a coffee machine maybe, an engine or a computer. My dad works in the automotive industry, so since I was a little kid, our house was full of motherboards, all sorts of cables, diagnostic tools, test equipment, and many more things about cars, engines, AC, batteries, and brakes. So when I think about what individual philosophy means, the first image that appears in my mind is the inside of one of my dad's devices. How it looks is quite similar to the inside of any electrical gadget. As you know, there is this motherboard, connectors, batteries, chipsets, power connectors, and a lot of cables. You basically understand how a gadget works by looking at this core, quite complicated mechanism. There are cables everywhere, there are different colors, shapes, and textures. Some of the cables are connected to the same place and some of them have their own places. You can follow some of the cables where it started and where it is ending. You can find out why the device is heating up, why it is working louder than it should, why it is working slower than it was before. Almost all the reasons why that device is behaving as it is right there in front of you. When you disassemble that device, you see all the hardwirings of its system, where it is working perfectly, where there are some leaks, where it is about to pass its sell-by date, where its stop gaps are, where it became rusty, many things. When I think about the concept of understanding our individual philosophy, this is what I think about. If we had a chance to disassemble our being, not just our brain or just our heart, but our whole being, we would be able to see what our hardwired conditionings are and how they work, what our blind spots are, how our thought processes work, our fears and coping mechanisms work, what our core intentions and desires are behind our actions, what we are still trying to hold on to even though it passed its sell-by date, what our attachments are, what our stopgaps are to save the day, what our reasonings behind our actions and responses are, where our judgments and biases come from. Individual philosophy is like a track underneath a train. Each of our unique individual philosophies is the track underneath our being. It directs our lives, it directs our desires, it directs our shortcomings, it directs our minds, feelings, behavioral patterns, our subconscious and conscious actions. There is this American fantasy TV series called Lock and Key. Especially the first season of it was quite interesting, with this world full of magical keys that can give you supernatural powers and abilities. There is one key called Head Key. When you insert it into a keyhole in the back of one's neck, a door shows up in the room as a unique representation of how one envisions the entrance of their mind. Just like the entrance, the interior design of each mind is quite different and personalized based on the user of the key. In the TV series, one of the characters' doors into their mind was like a chest, and the inside of it was like a video game. Another character's door was like a shopping mall door, and the inside of their mind was like a shopping mall, colorful retro shopping mall. There was also this character who had a stroke years ago, and since then she has been immobilized and unable to speak. Inside her mind was depicted as an abandoned and sort of haunted house full of spider webs, dust, empty bookshelves, broken windows, etc. I clearly remember my amusement and surprise with this key and how it has been depicted. I remember telling myself, how would it have been much easier if we were to have this key? And then as the episodes passed and the tables turned, I realized that it would have been hell having this kind of a key to one's mind. At first, characters were using it to insert knowledge into their mind by literally carrying books into their minds on the topics they wanted to learn about. They were also rearranging their memories and experiences inside of their mind, like books on a shelf. They were labeling them in the ways that can serve them. They were able to see where their fears came from. They were able to see how they started. They were able to access the things that they have forgotten about. Considering of all of this and the many more benefits of it that I was witnessing, I was amazed by this key. Then evil characters got into the play, and the security of each person's mind was at risk. The holder of the key was able to insert the key into your neck and make a journey into the depth of your mind and rearrange, delete, take away, insert anything they want. But also, there was this risk of rearranging your mind on your own. Like, you wouldn't know the consequences of moving one piece of memory, experience, knowledge, fear, or any emotion. You wouldn't be able to guess how it will end up. Because each item in our mind, and I would say in our being, is interconnected with many strings that come from different items and go to many different ones. And in some way or another, one of the characters experiences a difficulty and a loss in their humanity once she decides to remove her fears. This makes her completely fearless, not sensible, not being able to experience sadness. I think this is an ontological safety that the structure of this universe provides us with, in a way that we are ontologically incapable of disassembling our being, even our minds and what we call our hearts. And due to that, we are lucky because we are not able to see how we function as we do in one full big picture. It would be overwhelming. It would be dangerous because we would definitely end up with a desire to change something that we see in that full big picture, which we didn't quite like. For example, if I were to see how I function in one big diagram or picture, I would see the core moment where my phobia of birds started. And as a nerd of history, philosophy, archaeology, and a big traveler, I had many struggle with those little creatures. So I would have a big drive to erase that moment where my fear of birds kickstarted, but that would destroy the whole picture of who I am right now. So what I'm trying to say with this phrase, understanding one's individual philosophy, is not a momentary thing. It is not like this utopian or dystopian idea of seeing how we understand, how we function, how we think in one big picture in one moment. It's more like a lifetime experience. It is a lifetime journey. It is something constantly evolving, and you constantly try to understand, internalize, and move forward with that increased awareness of yourself and your individual philosophy. If we come back to the device analogy, the disassembling of an electrical device, I think, is more like a prototype of how the bigger machine works. By definition, a machine is a piece of equipment with several moving parts. So there can be different devices and gadgets in a machine. If we are trying to comprehend what understanding one's individual philosophy is through this device analogy, then I think it would be better if we were to look at a bigger picture. In other words, a machine. The most popular machines in today's world are a car engine, most probably, right? And a coffee machine. Let's disassemble a coffee machine. Imagine the inside of your coffee machine as your individual philosophy. The water tank is your core values, what's important to you in life based on what you make your decisions. The heating system of the coffee machine is your life experiences. They heat things up, they keep you going, they provide references. The filter is your beliefs, how you perceive things, your reality. The filter shapes your perception of the world, of your experiences. And lastly, the brew strength selector is your attitude and mindset. Are you optimistic? Are you bold? Are you serious? Are you fun? Are you mellow and easygoing and calm? What's the final product of the coffee machine? A cup of coffee, right? Every cup of coffee is your actions and experiences. Every cup of coffee that comes out is unique because of this whole internal process. The taste, the aroma, the water percentage, the grain size of it, everything is unique. Just like you can adjust the settings on your coffee machine, you can influence your own philosophy by reflecting on your values, beliefs, and experiences. Now let's disassemble a car engine. A car engine has many moving parts that work together. The main parts of it are like gears, pistons, gaskets, and wires of the machine. These are our values, beliefs, and experiences, all of which influence how the machine runs. The engine block, is the central solid structure. It is our core values, the absolute must-haves in our lives. The fuel keeps the engine running, right? It is our life experiences, both the ones we consider as positive and negative. The positive ones are like high octane fuel. They give you a boost and inspiration to go further, while the so-called negative experiences are like lower grade fuel, which requires more effort to move forward. And lastly, there are the controls. Your conscious mind acts as the controls. Through self-reflection and introspection, you can adjust the dials and levers, fine-tuning how your machine, how your being operates. By understanding the parts and how they work together, you can gain control over your machine, your individual philosophy. This allows you to navigate life's journey more smoothly and efficiently. Then, what about the unconscious and the subconscious mind? They are two distinct concepts, right? The unconscious is a process happening automatically and that we have no control over, and therefore no reflection and introspection is possible. Like our blood flow, our body temperature, our digestion, saying your spouse's name instead of your daughter's. Whereas the subconscious is a part of our consciousness to which we can access with some effort, meaning through self-awareness practices, meditation, reflection, introspection, etc. Like tying your shoes, walking without thinking consciously about each step you take, and feeling anxious before a presentation. The unconscious mind is just like an automatic transmission seamlessly shifting gears. The subconscious mind is like the cruise control, which maintains a steady speed while handling familiar actions without constant conscious attention. In our car analogy, you, the conscious mind, can't directly control the automatic transmission, aka the unconscious, but you can indirectly influence it through maintenance and overall driving style. However, you can access and potentially adjust the subconscious mind, aka the cruise control, with some effort. By consciously practicing and reflecting on a skill, a mindset, a state of feeling, you can refine how the subconscious mind executes it. So the work of understanding one's individual philosophy is a partnership between the subconscious and the conscious mind. We are not targeting, we are not aiming at the unconscious mind because we almost have no control over it. The only control I believe we have on our unconscious part is through indirect influence, meaning that the journey and constant work in our subconscious processes and implementing the necessary changes and reflections with our conscious processes will definitely make a change in our unconscious minds. But again, for me, understanding our individual philosophies is a partnership between the subconscious and the conscious processes. Now, I want to focus on a more reflective and reachable disassembly, meaning the podcast intro, our podcast intro. At the beginning of each episode, you hear me saying the following words: the world unfolds differently for each of us. Why? Where do the rules come from? Within each of us, there is a unique philosophy shaping our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, worldviews, and actions. This might be the simplest definition of individual philosophy that I could come up with. But here I want to focus on the word rules. Really, where do the rules come from? Where do the rules of our individual philosophy come from? I think there are two answers for this. One is more general and one is more personalized, which every person has to find on their own. I think first and foremost, the rules are set with our beliefs. I believe you heard this similar saying before, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it goes somewhat in the following way. Our beliefs form our thoughts form our feelings form our behaviors. So, beliefs are assumptions, basically, that we hold to be true. Based on those assumptions, we come up with our thoughts. In other words, ideas about how the world should be. And those thoughts create feelings, and with the feel of those feelings, we act on. We create behaviors. This is a cycle of behavior. And it all starts with our beliefs. And beliefs are a product of our subconscious mind. We need an extra effort to reach and disassemble them. The world is an unfair place. It's a belief. People who succeeded don't deserve it. They just got a head start. It's a thought. Every time You see a successful person, you get frustrated, feel discouraged, and resentful. That's the feeling step. And in time, as the behavior step, you lack the motivation to try new things, apply to a new job, set up your own business, or withdraw from all opportunities you have. This is a doom and gloom example of this behavior cycle, but let's look at a more fruitful one. My opinions matter. It's a belief. My perspective is unique and valuable. Sharing my thoughts could spark positive change or inspire others. It's a thought. I'm feeling confident, inspired, encouraged, engaged, respectful. It's a feeling. I actively participate in discussions. I recently started a podcast, a YouTube channel, a blog. Now I advocate for what I believe in, and I'm willing to respectfully disagree. These are a set of behaviors coming from a single belief: my opinions matter. This behavioral cycle is the general answer to my question, where do the rules of our individual philosophies come from? The rules of our individual philosophies follow the same pattern in each of us. Beliefs, thoughts, feelings, behaviors. But the introspective work that we all have to do in order to find the second answer to this question is by identifying each belief we have and the journey of it until it creates a behavior. I've always believed and witnessed firsthand people's resourcefulness and abilities to find their house. Although we talked about the importance of presence and witnessing different ways of self-expression in the previous episodes as ways to tap into our individual philosophy, I deeply know that when we have a very solid reason, we figure out the how quite well. In my sessions, I don't advise my clients. I don't give them possible ways to reach their goals. I constantly push them to find their whys and reflect on them on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Once we are sure about our whys, once it is powerful enough, then we figure out the how easily. Because we know the way already. The thing we don't have is not the how to do part, it is why to do it. We lack confidence, we are filled with fears, doubt, and judgment. We are trying to act from a place of scarcity. So in this podcast as well, I'm not giving you tips and tricks to live your best life, be your best version. There are no such things, at least for me. But by thinking, contemplating, reflecting, and discussing upon the concepts, beliefs, ideas, thoughts, and patterns, we unfold our awareness of our individual philosophy. We remember the hows in accessing, being aware of, and living up to our unique individual philosophy. What would happen when we don't understand and live up to our individual philosophy? I'm going to share my thoughts about it based on personal experiences as well as what I've witnessed in people around me, my friends, and my clients. Again, observe the consequences on your own while living with the echoes of what I share here. I think if we don't understand and live up to our individual philosophy, we would live on autopilot, would moan about time passing by very quickly, would moan about having many things to do but a very short time in our hands to do them, would constantly feel a longing for what we have in the past, or would constantly look out for future to bring us the things we want. When we look at old photos, items, and things we have collected over the years, reminding us of our memories, would feel a sense of not completeness, but a deep sense of longing for those moments in the past. Or we'd idolize the things we don't own and have right now, which would again create a sense of not feeling whole and complete as what we have and who we are today right now. We wouldn't feel satisfied with what we have today. We would be happy maybe and grateful what we have today, but there would be this minor bugging feeling inside of us. Would find ourselves in repeated patterns, same relationships triggering your people-pleasing side, your fixer side, constant issues with money and bad habits like procrastination, smoking, drinking, overeating, would end up in toxic productivity, being constantly on the go, constantly looking to cross another item from your to-do list, which would result in feeling burnout, low energy, no excitement and inspiration, and maybe feeling lost. If we were to not understand and live up to our individual philosophy, we would look for external answers while having all the answers within. We would seek external validation, would constantly read, watch, listen, ask for advice, ideas, but would never take time to stop and listen to the echoes of what we heard from outside. Would never take time to let everything settle down and simmer and mix into our system and produce an answer that is close to us, that is coming from our system. Would neglect and blunt our intuitiveness and natural focus on taking the right approach. Everything in this system we live in serves a higher good, serves for a better version of ourselves and of the world. That's why my heart cannot say that it is a waste of potential if you're not understanding and living up to your individual philosophy, because it's not. It is not a waste of potential. Everything you do and don't do in this moment is in your journey, is in your path. But what understanding your individual philosophy provides is a meaning, a heartfelt, soulful meaning for your journey. It provides a direction aligned with your values and beliefs. And since understanding your individual philosophy is a constant work, a work of a lifetime, not a destination to reach, it makes you sure that you're on the right direction, on the right path with every version of yourself every day. Understanding and living up to your individual philosophy is a reflective, intuitive, questioning journey. You know who's knocking by now. It is your intuition, your wise intuition, your inner sage full of answers, questions, wisdom, safety, and belonging. That is where all the true answers and questions lie. As our conversation for today fades away, may you find your echoes of it that resonate within you. Thanks for listening today. This is Inner Dialogues with Ecem, a place where you discover your inner you, a place where you belong. Until next week, take care.